Hello and welcome to another episode of Two Chicks, One Show, the show where normally we break down one currently airing show, an episode a week as it airs. We are going back to that format in just a few days. But for right now, we are finishing up our months-long project to watch all of the X-Files from beginning to end in preparation for the brand new season, which starts on Sunday. My name is Tricia Ennis. I am a longtime X-File, Phile, giant fan for a very long time. But my co-host, Kait has never seen the series, and she cannot say that anymore because she has officially seen the entire series, beginning to end, mostly without being spoiled. So we're going to talk today about season 9, the final season of the X-Files, and more recent movie, the one from 2008, I Want to Believe. So we'll start with season 9. Kait.
I just would like to say that I'm extremely proud of myself for finishing the task, because there were moments where I never thought it would happen.
We are very proud of you too.
Yeah, it was.
Would you like to make a short speech to accept this honor?
I would like to thank the X-Files,
the
Academy. But like, there was definitely moments where I was just like, I can't do it, but I trucked through it, and I'm very proud of myself.
I'm very proud of you as well, but I gotta know, like, what is
spoiler free until TVLine.com posted that thing about William. I was pretty much spoiler free.
Yeah, that was a really horrible headline, and luckily it didn't spoil too much if you weren't aware of the context, but it did spoil a lot if you were. But you did manage to stay pretty spoiler free. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for not completely spoiling the show at every turn. There were a couple times where I stepped a little bit, but I did okay. But anyway, season 9, it's a controversial season for a lot of reasons. So what is your opinion of the final season of the X-Files?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Everyone was like, started warning me when I said I was embarking on this journey of the X-Files for the past 7 months, that pretty much after season 7, it kind of goes downhill from there. And it does. I mean, I won't lie and say, oh yeah, season 7 through 9 are amazing, because they're not. Season 8 isn't that bad. Season 7 and 9 are pretty rough, but it was nowhere near as awful as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, luckily, I think a lot of the people that you talked to, including myself, probably warned you enough that you had really low expectations.
Yes. Like, I knew from the beginning that Mulder was going to be leaving at some point, and he's pretty much not in. He's only in the finale of season 9. So I was pre-warned about that. I was pre-warned that it starts getting really weird. But season 9, and we've said this before, it didn't feel like the X-Files. Like, the thing for me is I enjoyed Doggett and I enjoyed Monica Reyes. So it wasn't awful, but like, it wasn't the same.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people, at least coming at it from like having watched it when it was on, I think people at that point hated the last season more than like when I came into it, because I didn't come into it until later. I've only been a fan for like 7 or 8 years. 9 years. I was 19. But you know, people who came into it early, I think, had a worse opinion of it because it was this thing that they'd spent so much time with. But when I watched it, I think the biggest difference is it's not that people don't hate season 9. I don't think anyway. I don't hate season 9 because it's bad. You know, you dislike season 9 or you have a problem with season 9 because it's not the X-Files. It's a totally different show. It's a spin-off that just never spun off.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, suddenly your 2 main characters aren't really on the show anymore.
No, Scully is pretty much in maybe like the beginning and then the end, but like the middle of every episode is just mostly Doggett and Reyes. And I think it's interesting that like Doggett and Reyes refer to their first names. Like, she calls him John and he calls her Monica, whereas like Scully and Mulder never called each other like Fox and Dana.
No, and I feel like they never do. Like, she
Yeah.
calls him Fox every once in a while, and he calls her Dana every once in a while. But it's only when they're being like very, I don't want to say intimate necessarily, but
No, it's not intimate at all.
when they're having these specific moments.
I mean, I feel like whenever they've used their first names, it's like in a joking, condescending way, and there's always like a third party, like in the room. They're always like, "Oh, Dana," or like, I don't know. I just thought it was like a little. I don't know if they did it consciously or I just thought it was funny that like.
Yeah, but even into like, and we'll get into the movie a little later, but 6 years later and they're in a relationship and they're still calling each other by their last names,
Yeah,
which
like
I always kind of found funny and cute.
I mean, even like if I had someone that I worked with and not only then they became like my significant other and his name was Fox, I'm pretty sure I would call him that all the time.
Fair.
But no, never happened.
but as we were saying, the Scully is in Mulder's not really in this season at all. He appears in like a split-second shot in the episode John Doe, which we'll talk about. But he also, David Duchovny directed that episode, and he actually is a major part of obviously the final episode. But that's really the only times he ever shows up. And Scully plays a part in most of the stories, but she's only like featured in really specific stories, and they all have to do with her son, who is apparently alien Jesus.
Alien Jesus.
I told you that that iconography got that implication anyway got really, really, really crazy in the last season.
Yeah,
like with the cult, and then no, I was not kidding.
but I'm like, at least we know he's alien Jesus, whereas like I was confused whether he was like Captain America meets alien Jesus.
Yeah, he's pretty much just alien Jesus, but at the same time, the people who worship him as alien Jesus don't actually know very much about him.
No, that was it was a little bit confusing for me because I had to like rewind it while the guy was explaining what the cult believed because I was like, wait a second. Because he starts off saying one thing, then it changes, and then it goes back to the first thing. So I was like, what the? Like, it was like, oh, the prophecy would be fulfilled if his father dies, but if the father doesn't die, then he has to die. But then we're not going to kill the baby. But Mulder's still alive. So it was very confusing.
Yeah, it's really just very confusing, and I don't know that I have any great answer.
It's just like
for him because I feel like that storyline was kind of rushed.
Yes.
Because they were just like, and the baby is here, and now we need to make it do stuff. And then when we're not really doing very well with making it do stuff, we need to make it so dangerous that we give the baby away.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, poor William.
Yeah, I mean,
more like poor Scully. I mean,
it's way more like poor Scully because William went to a family that's gonna care for him.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what happened to William, and my thinking when I was watching the original series was always that in that final story, if they ever got back for that final movie or a series, which I don't think they're doing in this series, but if they ever got back to that when we actually got to the final alien invasion, I wanted it to have something to do with a like 10 or 12-year-old William and his alien Jesusness. So like they have to go find their son and like tell him the truth. I had a whole fan fiction running in my brain when I watched it the first time. But anyway, so let's go through the season a little bit instead of jumping all over the place. When we get some new villains ish, more villainous characters, like Carrie Elwes comes in and is not playing a dashing swashbuckler like he has in some movies that I love him in, but instead playing kind of a dick.
Yeah. I mean, he's no more a dick than other people at the FBI.
Well, no, true, he's not, but it's just one of those like, ah, oh, but you were so nice in The Princess Bride. Um, that it's sad to see him play an asshole. But one with history with Monica Reyes, so that sort of pulls her into the storyline, and she and Doggett have to deal with now since I brought it up in the last show that we did and didn't realize that I was a season ahead of myself, the super soldiers, which are now a thing.
Yeah.
We get a few of them played by actors that you recognize, which is fun. So the super soldiers are sort of marching around with their crazy metal spine thing and being indestructible for reasons.
No, I guess even when they chop off their heads, they come back, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they ever really. I mean, there's ways to deal with them because Scully does sort of like manage to lure one of them to that quarry that has that mineral that sort of interferes with their ability to function.
But that was just by chance.
That was just by accident, but they figured that out. So like by the end of the season, we know how to counteract these super soldiers, but then it never really becomes something that needs to happen. That's the problem with the season. From just like a structure standpoint, is that they introduce this new crazy villain of the super soldier, but they don't really deal with them very well. So it always felt like a really disjointed trajectory for the season to take, which is why I prefer in a lot of ways. Like I like all the Scully episodes. I like Providence and Providence just because they're crazy and really intense, and William is kidnapped. But I do like, as with most seasons, the Monster of the Week episodes a little more because they let you sort of take a breather from this complete turn that we've taken for the season. So I mean, do you have any favorites? Any favorite episodes from the season?
I did like the Brady Bunch one, the 2000th episode. It's
200th episode.
2000s. It felt like
it. They were on for so long.
Yeah. Sunshine Days was that one. So I liked that one. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed like getting kind of a resolution for Doggett.
With his son.
Yeah, with his son, and him finding peace with finding the murder of his son and dealing with all that kind of stuff. Because I really did enjoy Doggett for the 3 season he was in. So I liked the one, was it Scary Monsters, where the fanatic comes back.
Yeah, that's the one.
I like that
one. The child who
like
draws pictures and makes crazy things happen.
Yeah, but it was the agent that was obsessed with Mulder and Scully comes back. She like talks to Scully, and Scully's like, "This isn't an X-File," but then Doggett and Reyes go out with her, and it was an X-File.
Of course it was. It's always an X-File.
I liked the one with the Lone Rangers. The Lone Rangers.
The lone gunman jumped the shark.
Yeah, which was like, I'm assuming that it was like done after their spinoff was canceled.
Yes, it was. It was their spinoff was canceled during the first season. So they did jump the shark as sort of a swan song for the lone gunman and kill them off with crazy poison gas at the end.
Yeah, because they like brought back stuff that I'm assuming happened in the pilot episode that I've never watched. But that was sad.
Yeah, it was sad. It was weird. The first time I watched it, I was like watching the whole poison gas scene happen, and then it goes to the funeral, and I'm like, wait, did they just kill the lone gunman?
That's exactly what I thought. But like, how about Skinner getting them into Arlington? Like, that made me happy.
Yeah, that was nice. I feel like that would never happen.
I mean, I thought Mulder would have came back for it, but like in the shadows somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that would have been really nice if they could have gotten him to come back just for that one cutaway of him like standing in the shadows or standing off in the distance behind a tree.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or something, but they didn't.
So
The only time we get a glimpse of Mulder is it was the episode William, not John Doe. I forgot that all the episode titles got mixed up in my last season.
mhm.
Um,
Looking that
but
up.
yeah, in the episode
That's on my
William,
list.
which is which is the one where Agent Spender comes back.
Oh God.
But Scully thinks that he is Mulder because he is horrificcally burned.
No, Scully doesn't really think it.
She does for a little bit
Like,
because she wants him to be Mulder.
for a second, she might think. Doggett is like dead, thinks this is Mulder. And the whole time I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's so stupid.
And like they share some DNA because brothers.
Because they're half brothers. So, I mean, I am happy that we got like kind of an end story to the Spender kind of thing, because I always thought it was weird that cigarette smoking man kills his son in the X-Files office and then it's never spoken of again. Like no one's ever like, hey, what happened to Spender?
Hey, what about that dead body?
Yeah, hey, why is there blood in my office? Like nothing.
Yeah, and they don't really tell you what happened.
They made it like, which I don't believe that cigarette smoking man missed the shot, considering that he's like this ultimate killer. Like he killed JFK, he killed Martin Luther King
And it
Jr.
was like point blank.
Yeah, and he's like standing right there. Like, yeah. So he missed the shot, and because he missed the shot, but he didn't want to know anyone, that he took Spender and did experiments on him. And through the experiments, that's why he became deformed.
Yep. With all his crazy skin issues and nonsense. And his like he peels off parts of his face.
Yeah, like he has like a big hole right here.
Mm-hmm.
So he wears like a prosthetic.
Yeah, it's all very strange. I like that episode a lot. You know, it's some interesting stuff with William and that connection between those two characters, Scully and Mulder specifically. And I like that there was a resolution to the Spender storyline, and then he comes back in the finale to give you other resolutions that we will talk about. But yeah, so I like that episode. I like a lot of the episodes toward the end. You know, I really like William. I like Sunshine Days, but I have so many issues with it too, because like it really annoys me that the 200th episode they wasted on something so weird.
I think that was the point.
I think it probably was too, but it's like it's the episode before your series finale, and it's basically like they just sat back and were like, "We're gonna chill for a little bit. We're going to take a break from all the crazy drama, and we are going to give you a house that's basically haunted by the Brady Bunch."
Yeah, well, it's not haunted by the Brady Bunch. The guy that lives in the house is able to imagine whatever he's able to imagine happens.
Right, I know that. But when they walk in, it looks like it's haunted by the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, like, but I mean, considering it's sandwiched between the Lone Gunman dying and then the intense series finale, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I have other episodes that I really liked. Like I said, I liked William a lot. I liked John Doe a lot. I liked Providence and Providence because of the Sculliness of those episodes, because I think I was just like, give me some of my favorite character, please. And they just weren't doing it except for those episodes. So I have a lot of love for those. But I think if we're talking just strict Monster of the Week episode that I like the most, I like Audrey Pauly a lot, which is the sort of St. Elsewhere dollhouse-ish episode, where this woman, this like nurse in the hospital, like saves people by essentially putting them in a dollhouse. Which I like that episode. I like the structure of the episode. So I've always liked that one. And I like, which is the one, what's it called? It's Improbable. It's the one with the numerology and
Oh
where
yeah, I like that one.
it's all the women that get killed, like brunette
Mm-hmm.
or blonde, brunette, redhead, and like then Scully and Reyes end up locked in the parking garage or
With
something with the murderer, and they realize that that's the pattern and crap.
wasn't it Burt Reynolds?
It's Burt Reynolds, yeah.
But Burt Reynolds wasn't the killer. He was just always there.
Yeah,
Like, they never explained his purpose.
Yeah, I think it was very much just a season 9. Let's just throw stuff.
And
so let's put Burt Reynolds in an episode and have you think he's the killer.
But I didn't know there was such a vibrant, like Italian section of Washington D.C.
I didn't either.
I was like, oh, okay. Very interesting.
I think that was actually, one of the few X-Files episodes that I saw out of context before I got into the show. Like, I vaguely remember that scene without really understanding what was happening, so that when I got to it, when I watched the series all the way through.
Even when you were watching it, you probably didn't understand what was happening.
It was possible. It always makes me look up my number in numerology.
I don't know how to do that.
You don't know how to do that?
No, and afterwards I was like, now I want to know. But
I'm a 9, I'm pretty sure. Anyway. Just like Scully. But yeah, I like that episode because of its sort of weirdness and fun. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of those sort of weird things that make no sense half the time, and they're very strange. They're all very strange.
I have to mention some things that annoyed me.
Okay, go for it. What things annoyed you about this season? Because there's a lot of that.
First off, I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed it, but it really bothered me throughout all of season 9. Whoever did the like sound effects in post made the loud. Like, now everyone go back and watch season 9, and you could all you hear is just them walking. And it's crazy. It annoyed the crap out of me.
I don't think I ever really picked up on that.
Just watch one episode. You just have to watch one episode in season 9 and just listen for it. It's there.
Okay, I will go back and watch some of these. I haven't been watching along the same way that you have because I've got them so like ingrained in my brain. But season 9 is definitely the one that I have the least like stuck there because I think it just made the least bit of impression on me as far as seasons go. But yeah, I'll have to go back and watch some of those. That's all I hear.
Another thing that annoyed me.
Okay, another thing that annoyed you. Go ahead.
Was how they like really pushed the Doggett and Reyes romance.
Yes.
And I was just like, okay, relax. Take a breather. I mean, I get it, but then I'm kind of like, are they just doing it for something to do?
Yeah, I didn't think it was necessary. Like, they'd been so successful up to this point, stretching out the Scully-Mulder relationship in a way that was platonic, but still really meaningful. Up until that point where, they have a kid. But, so they did such a good job with that. They have one season. Why would you force a romance on these two characters that don't need to be romantically involved? They can be platonically interested. They're friends. They were friends from before this,
Yeah, I mean, they've been friends almost as long as Scully and Mulder have been friends.
Yeah, they just haven't worked together. Yeah, specifically.
And it was just kind of like, oh, so if there's a male and female partnership, automatically they have to be kind of romantically linked. Because even though Mulder and Scully were platonic for all those years leading up to William, there was always like that, the fans wanting it to happen, and always like those little moments where, oh, they're so in love with each other. But it was just kind of like almost cheapened what was created for the Mulder and Scully shipping, when they were just like, okay, well, now Doggett has a female partner who's not Scully, so they'll fall in love.
Right, and especially after they've done all like the even the good character stuff with Doggett and Scully, where they were a male female partnership. Obviously, Scully had a thing going on with Mulder, but Mulder was missing. They didn't force any sort of romance on those two characters. They were brother and sister.
Yeah.
You know, when Doggett and Mulder end up on that oil tanker freighter thingy, whatever.
One of my favorite. That's a good one. I like
Right,
that.
like you were talking about this in the last show, where they had this relationship that was very much boyfriend big brother,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that sort of head-to-headness that they had. And obviously Doggett is a much more fun big brother than actual big brother Bill Scully.
Oh God, I hate that man.
Which we had to bring up at least one more time while we did this. Bill Scully. He did not get a fair shake, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, that is definitely the thing that bothers me, I think, the most about season 9, of all of the Rush storylines and the weirdness with the super soldiers and the weirdness with the alien Jesus and all that. Definitely the Doggett Reyes romance was, I think, one of the worst choices of the season. Not because they didn't work, but because I just didn't care.
No, and like for me, I like Doggett and I like Reyes individually. I wasn't a huge fan of their partnership, if that makes any sense. Like, I enjoyed Reyes the most when she was working off Scully. Like when Scully and Reyes were working together, I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed Doggett a little bit more individually than I did when the two of them were together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can definitely go with you on that. Like, I think that their characters worked together. Excuse me, but yeah, I didn't think they meshed, and I also think that's a product of it being. I mean, season 9 is basically the first season of a totally separate show, so they haven't gotten their legs yet, and they don't really have time to do that.
No.
So yeah, it was there was a lot of rushed stuff, and they didn't really have the time, and you were coming off of 8 years of this really good story, partnership, character building, all that stuff, and then suddenly it's a whole new show and it just doesn't work. It's one of the many reasons why I wish season 9 had never happened. But as we're going to start wrapping up our season 9 because we still got to get to the movie, but to wrap that up, I think we should talk about the final episode.
I just have one question
go ahead. One question
about William.
Mm-hmm.
What Spender injected into William, was it a liquidized version of the rock that kills the super soldiers? So then
no.
Okay, because that's what I was thinking, because then that might be able to balance his DNA to make him just like a normal human baby.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of what it could have been. It could also have been some version of that cure thing that helped Scully in the movie. It could have been any number of things. They don't really tell you.
Okay.
He just injects him with something and it makes him normal baby.
And they don't know what the substance was. Yeah.
Yeah, also, they don't know what the substance was. They just know that he's fine and he's fine. He doesn't have powers anymore, although they don't know that necessarily.
Yeah, well, we don't know either.
Well, they specifically do the last scene where he points at the mobile and it doesn't move. Whereas in the first scene of the episode, he points at the mobile and it moves because he's got telekinetic powers. So they were specifically insinuating that it worked and he doesn't have powers anymore. But I also took that as but maybe they'll come back. Which is why I always wanted William to be part of the final story.
I mean, he could be. He might be in this. Isn't he in this season?
A version of him. We'll talk about that at the end. We'll talk about some of the stuff for what we've learned about the upcoming series. But do you have anything else you want to say about the bulk of season 9 before we get to the finale? No. Okay, so let's go to the finale. The last episode, technically a 2-parter, but done as one giant 2-hour, or in this case, 90-minute episode called The Truth, in which Mulder is put on trial for killing someone he can't have killed.
Yeah.
I have one giant problem with this finale, and that is that it is basically a clip show.
Yeah. Kind of.
Yeah, it's basically a clip show. At least the first hour is basically a clip show.
Yeah.
It just recaps everything we already know about the X-Files, everything we've already seen. It actually shows clips, and it puts people on the stand to talk about things that we already know and have already seen. Like, on the one hand, I'm okay with that, and on the other, I wished it had been more substantial.
I mean, in terms of like series finales, it wasn't the most awful one I've ever watched.
But it also isn't the strongest, because I've seen a lot of really, really good
but it's
finales.
nothing that it didn't leave me questioning anything, but it didn't like leave me actually like wanting more.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Goodbye.
it definitely, like, they managed to pull it all together into this one really good, cohesive, like, ending that was an ending, but still you knew the story kept going without it being the story's really rolling. So I think it worked, but I just had so many issues with it being a clip show because I was like, I don't want to watch this. I want to watch new stuff, a big epic finale. Of course, they did give me exactly what I wanted within the first 20 minutes, which was just an epic Mulder Scully kiss.
With like Skinner standing right there.
Yes.
Skinner.
Oh, Skinner.
His wife died.
Yeah.
Because of him.
Because of him. Well, technically ex-wife.
Yeah, but they were like, they could have got back together. That was what was happening.
Yeah. Anywho, so the finale, we learn a lot of new stuff when Mulder comes back. Like, he's been off investigating the super soldiers and the conspiracy on his own terms and trying to do it like under cover of darkness or something. And he breaks into this facility and he manages to find out one really crucial piece of information, and then he gets chased by, I don't remember the dude's name, who he throws over down a thing, and he dies, even though he can't die because he's a super soldier.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Mulder's arrested.
And then Mulder is arrested and held prisoner and put up for court-martial, essentially, even though he's not in the military. And they basically hold the trial to determine nothing, because they're not really proving his guilt or innocence as far as killing that man, because, I mean, he maintains that he didn't because the dude can't die, but they're they're putting his entire record on trial.
Yeah, they're just like putting Fox Mulder and X-Files on trial, basically being like, well, if we don't keep you prisoner, are you going to continue talking about this out in the public? Like, that's and like that's just been something that the FBI has been continuously worried about, is like, how far will Fox Mulder go in telling the truth?
Yeah,
like, because they just don't want the FBI to look like a bunch of cuckoos.
Exactly. And this is a trial for his life, because the consequence is death, essentially, at the end. And
like, wasn't it like death by lethal injection or something?
Something like that. I don't remember exactly. I just know that it was Mulder wins or he dies, because that's sort of where they get to at the end, when Mulder puts himself on the stand and, you know, makes his giant proclamation about everything that he's learned, blah, 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 except this one big thing that we only find out at the end, is, you know, he can't win. It's fixed. He was never going to win. This whole first episode has been for nothing. Because, you know, he's never going to win. So Scully and Skinner and everybody else break him out of prison.
Which, why was it so easy?
I don't know.
Like, it was extremely easy for Skinner and Doggett just to like get the keys and unlock him and walk out of there. I was just like, what?
I mean, they had some help. I mean, Kirsch helped.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't an FBI facility.
No, it was a military facility. That's why I don't understand what happened.
It was just very easy for Mulder to get out and run off. And then, and we'll get to this a little more with the movie, but then he doesn't leave the country.
No.
But he
Like,
never gets caught. They just don't, as long as he's not talking, we don't care.
I mean, because that's what, because, like, it doesn't make sense. Because then they go to the movie, and it's like, in the movie, they're like, Mulder, you're still wanted by the FBI, but, like, you can live in this beautiful farm in West Virginia, and no one's going to bother you.
No, because you're just not leaving the house. You're a hermit with a beard,
That
and
just, like,
your
paints stuff up on the
girlfriend,
wall.
yeah, and your girlfriend person is a well-respected doctor at a Catholic hospital. Anyway, we'll get there.
But why isn't Scully wanted? Like, she helped break him out. Like, why do they all not, like, in jail?
I have no free. Why isn't Skinner in jail?
Like, why is Skinner still assistant director of the FBI?
No idea. Absolutely no idea, because in the intervening years they don't explain it. But we should, before we jump to the movie, because we're going to get there real soon, let's talk about a couple of the things that we learn in this final episode.
You mean like the one thing?
There's two things. We get a straight answer about what happened to Samantha Mulder.
Oh.
It's a disappointing answer.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's basically
it's everything we already know, and they just say it in one sentence.
Yes, but they actually, like, for the first time, they actually say what happened. Because up to this point, like in season 7, we saw that we got evidence that she was living in this place where she was with Agent Spender.
Mm-hmm.
So in this episode, we finally get Agent Spender is put on the stand, and he says, Samantha Mulder, we grew up together. She died when she was 16.
Yeah.
End of story. Because of all the experiments.
But, I mean, sure, it was an answer, but we were already given that answer when Mulder saw Samantha as a teenager with, like, those lost children or whatever the fuck that episode was in season 7. That was weird.
Same episode. I like that episode. It's closure. It's called Closure.
And we already knew that she was living with Jeffrey Spender as a child, and we already knew that Fox Mulder's father, who was also named William, or no, yeah, right, William, yeah.
Well, his real father or his biological father? Well, his you know what I mean? Mulder, the father.
Mulder father.
Yes. Yes, his name is William.
Gave up Samantha. So I mean, really, we already knew what happened to Samantha. It's just finally, because Spender says it on trial, Mulder's like, oh yeah, that's what happened.
I mean, because a lot of it was still just implication. Like it was implied that she died at some point when she was a kid. It was, we knew there was evidence that she was there with Spender, but it was just implications of what had happened, what had transpired. Mulder basically knew in his head, like, yeah, I'm assuming my sister died. I'm never going to find her. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. But finally, he hears it out loud, and the audience hears it out loud. This is what happened.
I guess.
It was still disappointing because it wasn't the answer we were hoping for.
Well, you know what would have been so much fucking better?
What?
If, Samantha Mulder came in and, testified for her brother.
That would have been awesome, but then you'd have to explain it.
Yeah, but that would have been a better finale.
So then the other thing that we find out is when Mulder and Scully go to confront cigarette smoking man who is now living in a pueblo.
This was the best part.
With long hair and smoking out of a trachea thing.
That's great. That's badass.
I don't understand the pueblo.
Because it was the
why
only.
Is he in a pueblo?
It was the only place they wouldn't find him.
I know, but it was because he was living in a place where the super soldiers couldn't get, because the thing was filled with that mineral, but it was just
And that poor woman. Where do you find that woman that took care of him?
I don't know. Maybe she built the pueblo.
No, she's really fucking old. And she built it, engraved in the rock.
But anyway, they go and confront him because, of course, and
confront him for nothing. Literally, nothing was resolved.
Yeah, the only thing that came out of that, besides them almost being blown up, was that cigarette smoking man knocked them off their game and did his whole thing about oh, you haven't told her.
This makes absolutely no sense to me. You haven't told her, oh, like what you discovered when you were there, that blah, blah, and you haven't, like, it was like a really big fucking deal. You
Yeah.
know what it was? The date of colonization, which happened to be the date that the Mayans said the world was going to end.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is why I was so hoping that they would get their third movie in time for the Mayan
Oh my
apocalypse, because
God.
that
I
would have
was
been
just
perfect.
like, this is what I've spent 9 seasons watching for a freaking date that I could have just Googled.
Yes. So that is what you find out, is that everything that they've done up to this point has been essentially for nothing, because colonization was always planned for this
Yeah.
specific date. It was always going to happen. There's nothing they can do. It's going to happen. Of course, we're going to have a new series in which we don't really know what's happened.
Well, clearly colonization hasn't happened because hello.
Well, okay, so funny thing and is that when the Mayan apocalypse date happened, when December 22nd, 2012 rolled around, like December 21st, I'm sitting at work on Twitter like at nearly midnight as it's about to roll over, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm the only person here who is not waiting for the world to end, but is actually waiting for the aliens to come.
I mean,
As was promised by the X-Files. But who knows?
I just,
Colonization might have happened. They take our form.
that's true. You could be one.
I could be one. Do you see black oil
I
in my
could,
eyes?
I could be one.
You could be one.
You never know.
We could all be one. It's crazy.
It was just like so lame. So lame. And you know what pissed me off is that
Besides all that,
yeah, they escape the
Pueblo.
yeah, and they switch cars with Doggett and Reyes, and the helicopters come in and they blow up everything. And then once they're done blowing up everything, the helicopters just leave. Like, didn't you see the two huge SUVs like driving in opposite directions, like booking it out in the desert? And you're
Yeah.
not like, hey, maybe Mulder's in one of those? No, I'm pretty sure he was probably in the racks.
Totally in there. And cigarette smoking man gets blown up.
Yeah. I'm sure he's still freaking alive somewhere.
Well, did you
Like,
watch that featurette, the 22-minute featurette?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to talk about some of those things. Do you care?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch the series. I'm done now. What do I care?
Okay. Well, anyway, let's talk about the movie. So, I Want to Believe is a movie that came out 6 years after the series finale of The X-Files in 2008. I've already mentioned this.
Misleading title. Misleading title.
I Want to Believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it has all this stuff to do with like that is so mired in the idea of aliens, and the movie has absolutely nothing to do with aliens.
Nothing to do with aliens.
Nothing to do.
The only good thing was the poster was still hanging up.
Yes, yeah, that's true. So the movie picks up 6 years later, staying in continuity with the time that's elapsed, and there is an FBI agent who needs Mulder's help.
Yeah.
So she reaches out to Scully because she can't find Mulder.
Can we just talk that the one agent is Exhibit? Rapper
Yeah.
Exhibit?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of weird stuff in this movie. I know you don't really like it.
I mean, I literally watched it like 4 hours ago. It was bad. I was not a fan of it. I know you are hardcore about it.
I am hardcore about it. I like it. I saw it at midnight when it came out. I dragged my sister and her friend.
I'm sure they will remember that night forever.
At midnight. What's funny is they'd never seen the show, so.
Oh, great! That's a great introduction.
Yeah, right. It's great. There were like 12 or 13 of us in the theater. It came out the same night as, I want to say, Step Brothers.
That seems about right.
There were more people there to see that movie than there were to see the X-Files.
That also seems about right.
Yeah. So it was a weird experience. It was the only midnight show I've ever been to where everyone in the audience was just as excited about the movie as I was, but there were like 12 of us, so we could have just had a conversation.
No. That was the only midnight showing where people were excited to see it?
No. It was the only midnight showing where there were so few of us that we could have just easily have sat all together and like had a conversation about it, where normally you go to a midnight show and it's a packed theater and everyone is screaming and clapping, and it was just a weird experience. Kait Plus, you had to be like a really hardcore X-Files fan to go at midnight.
Mm.
Yeah. But anyway, so I have a soft spot for the movie because it came out right at the right time, because 2007 is when I got into the X-Files. So I finished the series, found out they were shooting the new movie, and then the new movie came out like 6 months later. It was a really fast turnaround for a movie. They started shooting in December and it came out in June.
I mean, you're not really helping the movie's case.
No, I'm really not. And it's a really strange concept. It's a Monster of the Week movie. And it wasn't one of their stronger Monster of the Week episodes.
It's not even like, I like the Monster of the Week episodes. I am a huge fan of them. This was a bad Monster of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite Chupacabra, but
Jesus. My issue with the movie is that after all this time, after Mulder being essentially in hiding as this hermit, as this hermit in this place in West Virginia, this is the case that brings him back to the FBI.
yeah.
And my other huge thing is that annoys me, and it annoys me because negative portrayal of Scully is Scully's the one that tells Mulder to help the FBI, but then as soon as she says it, she then starts complaining that he's helping them. And I'm just like, oh, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think there were some definite issues, like looking at it in retrospect, not, trying to take the goggles off. It definitely wasn't a strong story. It had a lot of issues. I don't love the characterization. I think it took a little while for them to sort of get back into those characters, and I don't think it was the best choice they could have made. And obviously it didn't pay off the way they wanted it to. I mean, I think the idea was that they wanted to do a movie, but they needed to do a movie that wasn't the movie everybody wanted. Everybody wanted colonization, but it was 2008, so either they had to jump 4 years into the future, or they had to do a movie that would give Fox a reason to keep funding the series, or to keep funding the movies, and it didn't. They like, basically, I'm just saying they blew it.
I mean, I just feel like if it was a Monster of the Week that had to do with aliens, I would have been happier. But this literally had nothing to, essentially it was a black market organ situation where a man was trying to save his lover.
Yes.
By like using stem cell research to kind of build a new human being.
Yeah, it was X-Files Frankenstein.
So, I mean, I just don't think it did the characters justice, the storyline that has been built through the 9 seasons justice. It definitely didn't, I think, make fans happy.
No, it didn't.
It was just annoying.
Yeah, it wasn't a good place to end, which is why I'm glad they're bringing this 6-episode series back.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know the 6-episode series was coming back and I watched this and this was like the last time I ever see Scully and Mulder again, I'd be mad depressed.
Yeah, but that last scene is excellent.
I mean, the last scene like makes it kind of worth it, but like it was just awkward. Even like their home life was awkward. It was never like fully explained. Like, does Scully live there? My main question is, does it really snow that much in West Virginia? The place is covered in snow the whole time.
Well, that's because they're shooting in Vancouver.
Yeah, but I mean, they're saying West Virginia.
Yes. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble with the movie, even in how much I liked it. Like, I always felt like I was defending it to myself, and I still like the movie. I'm probably always gonna like the movie because I liked it to begin with, but it's definitely not very strong. I don't like it as much as I like the first movie, and even the first movie had issues. And I'm really glad they're bringing it back. What?
I mean, compared to this movie, it was a masterpiece.
Yeah, it had a lot of issues, and it's it's not the strongest thing. I'm glad they're bringing back a series because I think they do better with this kind of storytelling. And from what we have seen so far, what we know so far about the upcoming series, I think that they're might actually stand a chance at doing some justice. They're going to have it's 6 episodes, but only I think 2 or 4 of them are going to be mythology based. They're doing Monster of the Week episodes. One of them has to do with lizard people. It looks amazing. Just because of all of the work that they're putting into it. But it gives them some room to breathe and but they are going back to the mythology, and it does look like they're actually going to try to do, a big story that does what they set up justice. My problem is that they're talking about bringing it back for further seasons, and I don't want them.
Okay.
Because I think they need to let it die.
Yeah. But like my problem is if they do these 6 episodes and I don't have like a resolution to everything, then they need to come back and do a movie or something because and like not a stupid movie like that one. I want to believe.
Yeah, I think they need to resolve the colonization thing if they can.
Yeah, I mean, I want the William thing to be resolved.
Yeah, so, okay, the thing with William is from what I got from that featurette, which if you haven't gone and seen this featurette, there's a 22-minute featurette. You can find it on allgeek2me.net, where they sort of lay out the plan for the series. They don't spoil a ton of stuff. They do spoil some stuff, so like you get an idea of the episodes that are to come. So if you don't want to be spoiled at all about any episodes that are to come, sorry, I already spoiled the lizard people, but don't keep watching. So one of the things they bring up is William. There is going to be an episode that involves teenage William, because at this point he would be 13. But it's not, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know that it's actually going to involve teenage William. It looks like it's going to be a what could have been episode.
Okay.
That's going to be like, what if we hadn't given him up? What kind of life would we have? The biggest question I have about everything that I've seen from the stuff that is to come is that one of the most intense conversations between Mulder and Scully happens in a cemetery, and there is an urn at their feet. Who was in the urn?
Oh.
I want to know who was in the urn.
I mean, I think I'm putting a lot of pressure on these 6 episodes.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah. And I mean, I just want to know, because I want to believe, we are led to believe that Scully and Mulder have been together since the end of 2002. Mm-hmm. And they lived in this bizarre kind of way where she goes off and she works. And I mean, at first I wasn't sure if they were together or not.
Yeah. And then they do the scratchy beard thing in bed.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And then she kept saying, I'm not coming home, and then blah, blah, blah. So I want to know, like, what happened to now in the 6-part series they're not together.
I don't know if they're going to fully explain what happened. I mean, they're not together, and they haven't been together for a while, and I'm assuming they haven't been together for the 7-ish years that have come between.
But when we left them in the movie, it seemed like they were still together.
But it also seemed like they were breaking up.
Yeah, that's why I was so confused.
I mean, they had that awesome kiss at the end of the movie, but
yeah,
I'm gonna have to go watch that scene. But they're not together, but it's very easy to get them back together. Not necessarily romantically, but to get them back together in this partnership. I don't know that Chris Carter likes the idea of them being romantically involved. In that 22-minute featurette, he specifically says for 9 years they had a platonic relationship, and everybody is like, dude, they had a baby.
Yeah, and it's even mentioned in season 9 that it was like conceived.
Yeah.
Because that one super soldier says, I know that you let Mulder into your bed.
Yes.
So they did it, guys. And clearly they were doing it in the movie, so.
Clearly.
I don't know. I just hope it's not bad, and I hope it like gives some answers to the huge questions that they left.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things they're going to have to answer is why colonization didn't happen.
Yeah.
If they are going to answer that at all, I don't know. I'm worried about getting my hopes up too high for this series because I don't want them to be dashed.
I'm assuming that they have to mention colonization at some point because Smoking Man is supposed to return
Yes, he's
that
going to be in it.
capacity. So
The lone gunmen are going to be in it, and so is Smoking Man. We don't know in what capacity. Smoking Man, it looks like he lived. The lone gunmen are dead.
yeah. Or are they?
Well, they were a hallucination to Mulder in that last episode.
Yeah.
He sees them as like ghosts. But if you read the comic books, they have season 10 comic books, which Chris Carter has said are essentially canon.
Okay.
And they're alive. They fake their death. So whether or not they continue to be canon now that they got this show, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense for them to fake their death because they were in so much debt.
Yes. Yes, it would.
So.
And it would be interesting if Morris Fletcher were to have had a hand in that. We do know that a lot of the old cast is coming back. Monica Reyes will be in an episode.
Is Doggett going to be an episode?
I haven't seen anything about Doggett being in an episode.
That'd be so sucky.
Yeah. I mean, he's on a show right now, so that might have...
Oh, please. Yeah, okay. Scorpion. You
I
can't
like
make that.
Scorpion.
Whatever.
So good. It's bonkers, but it's good. But yeah, so I don't know if he's going to be in it. I didn't see anything. The only reason I know Reyes is in it is because there's a clip of her in an episode in that featurette. Go watch that featurette. Yeah, so but the new season will premiere this Sunday.
Do you want to take bets on who dies?
Skinner.
Yeah, that's who I think is going to die too.
Makes more sense.
It's going to be pretty painful if Skinny dies.
I was wondering if Skinner's in the urn.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, someone's going to die.
Unless it's Doggett.
I actually was thinking that too, that it could be Doggett.
And that's the way, he doesn't even have to come back.
Yeah, and that's definitely a possibility that he has an off-screen death. Someone's dying on screen.
Oh.
In my opinion.
Oh, you don't, that's your opinion.
In my opinion, someone's dying on screen. I think that someone's going to be Skinner.
Okay.
If it's not Skinner, it might be one of the new people that we're introducing because there's going to be new agents and a lot of stuff. I mean, Amanda Peet died in the movie.
I know, that really pissed me off. Exhibit lives and Amanda Peet dies made no sense. Whatever.
Yeah. Just too bad. Stupid. Anyway, so the new season will premiere this Sunday. I'm very excited about it. It's the first time that I've been bummed that I don't have cable because I can't watch it live and live tweet. I have to wait until the next day to watch it on Hulu.
It'll be on Hulu at 3:34 a.m. That's usually when Hulu puts out their stuff.
Is it really? Have you timed it?
Yes.
It's really sad, Kate. And
it's usually between the 3 and 4 o'clock a.m. hour.
On that sad note, we are going to sign off of this final X-Files episode of Two Chicks, One Show until this series is done. We're not going to do an episode a week with the X-Files because Agent Carter has started up. So we are going back to our old format of one episode a week, tracking Agent Carter as it airs. It just premiered on Tuesday night, last night. Kait has watched it. I have not.
There is almost an X-Files-esque specimen.
Okay, I am looking forward to seeing that. We will be doing our first Agent Carter Season 2 show on Sunday night at 8:30. So tune in to watch that. I'm very excited for this new season. If you want to sort of talk about some of the feminist issues and awesome kick-ass girliness of the last season and hopefully this upcoming season, we both do, but I host and Kait produces a podcast called Lady Parts and Love Triangles, which you can find on YouTube. On iTunes. I'm tired. You can find it on iTunes. Lady Parts and Love Triangles on iTunes and also on SoundCloud. And you can listen to our most recent episode, which is about Agent Carter with my guest host, Lauren Galloway of the Peggy Carter podcast. And it's super fun and interesting, and I hope you listen to it. Do you have any final thoughts about the X-Files before we go?
It was a good ride.
I am very proud of you for watching all 9 seasons and the movie in 7
You
months.
do. Yeah. We didn't think I could do it.
I was worried when we decided to start this, but we managed to get through it. You did it. We did all 9 seasons and 2 movies, and we did it before the new series started.
Yeah, I know.
So, woohoo!
Let's do it again. Let's pick a new show to just like completely one that I've seen and you haven't.
Oh, that's gonna be tough.
Game of Thrones?
But I've seen the first 3 seasons.
Oh. True Blood?
I haven't done that one, but there's a different one. You should pick a different one, but okay. We'll talk about it. Anyway, until next time, thank you guys for watching. Hashtag 2chicks1show to talk with us on Twitter. I'm at Tricia Ennis. She's at Kait Calabro. We will see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye.